A Working Man, the newest action film. Let's talk about it. So, A Working Man is the newest action film that is out now for you guys to go and check out. It stars Jason Statham, and look, man, when the trailers came out for this film, I was so hyped for this film. Oh man, I am a sucker for Statham. I love Statham. I love the action films he does. Going all the way back to Crank, the safe one that he does, Homefront. Oh, the Expendable movies, except Expendable 4. I mean, he's great in that one, but the movie's not great. Then you had the Beekeeper last year. You have the Transporter. I love those type of movies. And this movie, when I watched trailers, I was sign me up first at the door. Let's freaking go. I'm ready for this movie. And look, I know what to expect in this type of movie. I know I'm not expecting, Oppenheimer's story or anything like that. I'm not expecting Shawshank Redemption story. I'm expecting a little bit of story, a little bit in the characters, but Statham absolutely being a badass, killing people in the most gruesome way, and just running through people like no tomorrow, which is what he does. And that's what I got in this movie. So I can't complain, because it's exactly what I was hoping for. And this type of movie, when I go into it, I just want to see some great action, some awesome kills, and I want to be entertained. That's ultimately what I want to be able to come back home and go, you know what? That's a movie that I could see myself putting on, an action movie, and just enjoying myself again, and just watching Statham just be an absolute badass. That's what this film is. Now, the easiest way for me to describe what to expect from the film itself, like narrative-wise and stuff, imagine Statham's take on Taken. That's what it is, because the whole plot, as you see in the trailer, revolves around a girl being taken. So it's obviously Stallone and Ayers wrote this film, and you can see it, because there is a bit of the Rambo mixed with Taken in here as well, which I thought was actually a nice choice. It was a nice choice, but obviously Statham is just great in this film. I mean, man has aura. The man has aura. If he walks into a moment and there's like 6 guys around him, you're sitting there and you're like, I'm putting my money on Statham, man. I am putting my money on him. So he is great at playing this character. They refer to him as the devil in here because of who he's taking down. It also sort of had like a John Wick vibe with the villains. The villains are very much like a John Wick sort of thing as well. So I think they took parts of an inspiration from different films and that and put it into one action film. Like, is this going to be the best film of the year? No, this ain't going to be anywhere near the top 10 best films of the year. But I'll tell you what, it'll be one of the most entertaining films. If you like The Beekeeper last year, if you like Homefront, if you like Taken, you're going to like this film. I think this film it knows that's what it's trying to aim for, and it executes that. Now, they do give you some depth to certain characters. We learn a little bit more about Statham's character and what is actually going on in his personal life and why he has such a connection with this family and to why he wants to help them out. So they do add in some narrative to it, which elevates the scene, especially the ending. The ending is elevated to a very personal thing for this character. And I think that does help this film. That does help that film. Now, granted, the bad guys are just the bad guys. They make them as unlikable as possible. Look, they're doing some really, really bad shit. Like, I'm talking human trafficking, all sorts of stuff. They are doing really, really bad stuff. But there was one particular guy in this film that annoyed the absolute living daylights out of me. And I wanted his death so badly in this film. So bad. And he's not even one of the main villains. He was just a side villain. And it was the guy with the cowboy hat and the beard. So if you've seen the movie, you know who I'm talking about. Bro was talking up like he was some big thing. When they're looking at the monitors and she's like, oh, you need to go sort that out. Man walks out like he's a big dog and that. And I was like, oh, so this guy's got to be one of the big boss. He's not even a big boss, man. He was a little bitch, man. And when Statham goes, when they have the fight, oh, man, I was sitting there and I was enjoying every moment. So I think they did a great job at making you hate the villains, so that when their death does happen, you understand it. Now, there is one villain who I'll say I kind of felt for in a way, because they did give him a little bit more character and a little bit more connection to where you could actually connect with him. And Statham's character actually connected with him as well. So when his death happens, you feel like that, and you're like, okay, this means a bit more. This is something he didn't want to do, but he had to. So I like that. But then there's other villains where you're just like, yo, Statham, have at it, bro. Have at it. There's this one guy towards the end. His death, oh my word. Statham went in. And I mean, this was a brutal kill. It was insane. Now, Jenny, the girl who is the one that was taken in this movie, what I like that they did is she's not just a damsel in distress, because they explain a little bit about her family and her grandfather and what her grandfather taught her, and she puts those skills in here as well in this movie. So she's not just someone that's hanging out and waiting. She's actually trying to escape and fight her way through and stuff like that as well, which I appreciate. Obviously not on the level of Statham, who's just a badass, but I think they did that really well, because we're so used to the damsels in distress, and I think having her have that knowledge, but she never took out someone that was like, obviously like huge or anything like that. So they kept it within proportion. So it made it believable, because, you can have a smaller girl go up against a guy that is like twice her size, and she beats him, and you're kind of like, and she beats him with strength, and you're like, that's not believable. Here, she doesn't do that. The opponents that she takes on, you can believe that she could beat that opponent. So I think the realism there made it more believable. So, which is something I appreciate. Now, the runtime was fine. I think the pacing was great. There is a little bit of comedy in here as well that I appreciate. David Harbour was fantastic in this movie when his character's on screen. I love that character. I kind of want a prequel to this movie now. I want to see them interacting more with each other and what happened before all this stuff. I'd love to see that. But I think they did a really good job at the start introducing you into here, and then everything throughout. I thought the journey was fun. I was never bored. I was always enjoying it. Watching Statham, try to figure out what is going on, trying to figure out where she is. I thought they did all that well. It is kind of messy, though. I will say that. It is messy. It's not perfect or anything like that. It has moments where you're kind of like, oh, that's a bit weird. And the ending with one particular, is it teasing for a sequel? It kind of teases a sequel could happen, but whether or not we do, I don't know. But villains, again, I think they don't have a lot of character to them. They're just your typical villains. So don't go in there expecting to have this deep villain with layers to them. They don't have that. They're just your typical bad guys. This is what they do. Hate them. So that every time Statham kills them, you're like, let's go. I'm on his side. So I think they did that a good job. And I think the stuff with Statham and his family, I thought was great as well. But overall, I had a lot of fun, man. It was exactly what I thought it was going to be, and it did not disappoint. It executed it. And that's all I can ask from this type of film, man. I don't expect anything else high or anything like that. I just want to be entertained with some good action, which I got. So let me know what you guys think. Did you guys enjoy the movie? Did you not? Smash it down in the comment section below. Smash that like button. Click subscribe, and I'll see you guys next video. Until then, stay safe, and peace out.